Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton.
Hello, dummies. Welcome. Episode 20, stupidest sports show on earth. I'm Tim, Tom Terrific Van Stratton, my nickname alone. With me is Rodney Newpol. He's not the primetime NFL expert. He's not the king of the court expert. He's just super sad. We're both just going through it on the first day of November. All right. I'll try to pick up the energy here. In all seriousness, thank you for joining us on episode 20. This is amazing that we've made it to this point. We've enjoyed the show. We've had fun, and I would say that the first 19 episodes have been a barrel of laughs. They've been nothing but nonstop entertainment. Stuff that you'll probably tell your grandchildren about in many, many years. I don't know what today's show is going to be like because we're going through it.
Yeah. So setting the scene here, we put our free bet, $314 free bet on the Houston Texans to win money line. And you said it best. We got beat by not one, but two one-handed touchdowns.
Yeah. One of them being the greatest touchdown catch in the last 10 years in the NFL. Yeah. But go on.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. And one of the best kickers in the NFL, missing not one, but two field goals, including literally like a 19-yarder after he had already made one.
Off the post.
Yeah, no, I thought that was going to work out really well for us when they got the roughing the holder, the snapper. I don't know.
Well, the Jets not only had that, but they also had a guy drop the ball before crossing the end zone. Like those two things, it was like the universe was like, hey, we got this. The Jets are going to are on your side. And apparently it was only to just tease us.
Yeah, it was teasing. We lost, and now we're upset. And our king. So let's move to king of the court. Our king of the court was Damian Lillard last night. Yeah, we went with Damian Lillard. We thought, you know what? There's 4-game slate. Dame's probably not going to be as popular as some of these other guys. By the way, the winner was Devin Booker. Second place, Giannis. Dame 1 for 12 from the field last night. He had 4 points. That's not going to win as king of the court. And you made the pick yesterday for us.
Thanks.
And your exact words were, oh, man, Devin Booker, he would definitely be my next best choice. Well, he won. He won king of the court. We went with Damian Lillard. Devin Booker won. You have sworn off betting now. So I'm going to be super sad that I got to do this myself now.
I mean, I don't know if it's betting or DFS. It might be DFS that I have to take a break from because that's been infuriating as well. But yeah, I just there's just certain nights we're talking and we're like, just once it would be so great to just drop these screenshots of just hey, we won this $314 bet. Hey, look at this. We had a big payout in this DraftKings lineup. Hey, look at this. Damian Lillard, king of the court. Something that just makes us feel like winners. On the Sports Equinox, having Paolo do what he did was nothing else. And now I'm trying to chase that feeling. And yesterday was just ultimate pain in every single thing. And I come here today and what am I celebrating? I'm like, oh, great. Joe Mixon at minus 125 odds scored a touchdown. Oh, awesome. Norman Powell labored his way to 20 points in that game. Barely reached. I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate that. It was terrible. It was a terrible, terrible night. It was terrible. Yeah, sports are terrible. And I know we're supposed to say sports is supposed to be fun. It's fun to be dumb, but it sucks, man. It sucks. I want to win. I want to win. I want to win things. And then I got to do this stupid Substack every day, which by the way, if you're not following us, do so. That's Stupid Sports Show. Honestly though, maybe don't. Or do, but then fade everything I'm saying because I'm probably down over 7 units at this point. So and a week ago, 1 week ago, I was in Hawaii. We were talking about this, and I had a winning record. I was up. So this is all within the last week as well.
Yeah, but you went 2-3 last night. I mean, that's not going to bankrupt anybody. You went 2-3. You got Norman Powell. You got Joe Mixon. Now, Aaron Rodgers actually should have had an interception that the Texas defender just literally dropped.
Well, it was a penalty though. It would have been called back anyway because it was whatever illegal contact and that bullshit. But
I mean, did the Spurs beat the Jazz?
Spurs did. Yeah, Spurs won. Tulane won.
So I went 2-3 as well. Well, I went 3-3 because I had a bonus one that actually I put on Wednesday. But anyways, I mean, come on, you're gonna go 5-0 and get back into it. You're gonna go 5-0 here soon. But yeah, follow us on Substack. Tim's gonna put all of his heart and soul into his picks for you.
I'd like to announce I'm done putting heart and soul into picks for a while.
All right, just to throw them in there.
Method of just like burping out picks. That's what I do. My best bets for betting that are coming up later in the show as well. You will.
It should take no more than about 5 minutes of your time.
All right. Do we want to talk about this Jets game? Like, what else do we have to say about Jets Texans here?
Yeah, pretty gross.
By the way, and comment and interact and
pretty gross football last night, to be honest with you. And the Thursday night games just continue to be pretty nasty looking football games. I didn't really think Aaron Rodgers was really all that good. We got beat by him, of course, and which infuriates me even more because I can't stand him. I just think he's just a good. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but anyways, Garrett Wilson was impressive, and then Devontae Adams touchdown late. What's that?
Within the last couple of years, has that Aaron Rodgers hate started? Because I don't recall you having like these feelings about Aaron Rodgers during his Packer days. I liked Aaron Rodgers with the Packers.
I did too. I don't know. It's like go into the darkness and love it, or I know whatever he has to say about it. He's just a weird dude. He's a weird dude. And then, obviously he's entitled to the things that he wants to get and he gets, right? Like I want Devontae Adams. Okay, we'll go get him. I want this. Okay, we'll go get him. And he's 3-6. Like it's not a good football team. And now we got to consider and we probably should have taken the Stephon Diggs injury a lot more serious than we did. We're like, okay, Nico Collins out. Yeah, that sucks. Okay, Stephon Diggs out. Oh, Houston can still win this game. But obviously that was a big deal because CJ Stroud did not look very good last night with his weapons.
No. And the offensive line was already beaten up. And I know, we couldn't predict this, but, Kendrick Green, our boy from Peoria here, he actually played really well, all things considered. And Kirk Herbstreit was giving him quite a few shout outs on the broadcast. But at the end of the day, he was their third string guard who was starting the majority of the game against a pretty decent Jets defensive line. So it was just things like that just it made it really difficult for Houston. And yeah, I honestly, if Houston probably did have a Diggs or Collins as that number one option, it might be a different story there. But even still, Stroud made a couple nice throws. Tank Dell had a really nice game. Dalton Schultz, I think maybe had the one catch along the sidelines that was nice where he juked a couple guys out. But for the most part, he was non-existent.
Yeah, and that was my anytime touchdown. Obviously, you had Joe Mixon, big game, 24 carries, 106 yards. Dalton Schultz, 3 catches, 21 yards. Yeah. It's funny because his prop was actually listed at 2.5 for his over receptions, I think. Maybe that was Tyler Conklin. I knew the tight ends both felt like they were pretty low. Tyler Conklin just 1 catch last night for -3 yards. But yeah, there we are. That's really all we need to talk Jets Texans. It was ugly. It was gross, and it made us sad. It really irritated me because I really thought even going in there late in that game, Houston's still going to win this game. And they just could not. They could not get things done.
And it was just the broadcasters and the writers are like, everything's coming up Jets. It's of course, the unluckiest team in the history of professional sports. And the night I bet against them, they're just like, wow, everything's going the Jets way. Come on.
It was kind of gross. But rip to our free bet. Thank you, Paulo, for that entertainment. And the sad news is now Paulo's out 4 to 6 weeks.
No, didn't even get to that. He gave his body for that bet that we then lost on the Houston Texans.
Yeah. And it's funny because we were live here Tuesday night and we did not do the Dodgers, and I would have been a good choice. We almost did the next night at plus about 500, 5-1. Probably should have done that one. We probably should have done that one. But anyways, it's hard. It's hard. Betting's hard. I'm gonna come back and win some games today, though. You're gonna take the day off. I'm gonna win some games.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna take the day off. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just going through it. I'm just being emotional and sad. I know it's not fun for anyone, or maybe it is. Maybe it is fun to see me going through the stages of grief here. But I'm just, it's just certain things where it's like, oh, the New York Jets are 2-6 and they're a laughing stock. Obviously, they're going to win. Damian Lillard is averaging 28, 6, and 6 in a must-win game against a team that has like 75% of its normal players out with an injury. Of course, he has the worst game of his life, and the Bucks get stomped. I like what do you want from me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those nights. It's just one of those nights, and our highest was the Sports Equinox Monday. Now our lowest is Thursday.
And Halloween, and
like to talk about,
and Halloween, which you've said you hate. That was also yesterday. So that was on top of it. So on top of that bullshit, like you had to deal with Halloween stuff.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. We were out for a while last night. Not a fan of Halloween and just being outside. I like being outside, but being outside, walking in the dark, going door to door, seeing other kids run around, try to scare people. Yeah, it's not my thing. But I guess we ended up surviving the night last night of Halloween, got back, saw the end of that Jets game, and just thought, okay, this day kind of sucks. But did get that final Norman Powell bet in last night, so went away a winner.
So this is a question here because as the only father between the two of us, there's a certain thing where it's like, oh, you are entitled to X amount of candy that your kids collect during their trick-or-treating. No, you don't go for any of it.
Oh, do I I just take what I want. Like if they have something in their bag and I want it, I'll just take it. Because so once they get, I got 3 kids and my oldest still will do trick-or-treating. He's probably about done at 13. Like, well, really only he goes with his sisters. Like if he was out with friends, he probably wouldn't even be trick-or-treating. He'd probably just be hanging out with them. But since he goes with the sisters, he's like, okay, I'm going to bring a bag and I'm going to trick-or-treat too. When they get their 3 bags and they get them home, it does not go to their room. It's not specifically for them. Like it's a free-for-all at that point. It's what's theirs is ours. And so anytime I want a piece of candy and I'm out walking, I'll just eat it. It's what's theirs is mine. Right.
What's the go-to? What's the number one thing that you're looking for? I know that we're changing the game of podcasting here by talking about favorite Halloween candy on the day after Halloween. Yeah,
I'm sure no one talked Halloween candy yesterday. I'm curious who won our buddy Jim Matson's Candy Madness contest from yesterday.
There's only been like 2 winners in the history of that thing. I think Reese's and Twix. Has there been a third that is won out of nowhere? Because it seems like it's always one of those 2.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. But to answer your question, like I'm a chocolate guy. I do love chocolate. I love Reese's. Really anything with chocolate will do. And I'm kind of an equal opportunity candy guy. Like if it's in the bag, I'm probably going to eat it. But I tend to side towards chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely my preference too. It's kind of disappointing when it's like you go someplace and you get like a bag of Smarties. It's like
for sure. We didn't get there, but supposedly there was a house down the street that had cotton candy. Not our street, but where we were at last night, they had cotton candy. There was one place giving full size candy bars. There was lots of options, of course, last night. But I mean, they filled the bags. Somebody gave hot chocolate, which was actually a good idea. We got home last night and they had some hot chocolate because it got a little chilly last night. That wind was fairly strong.
That is good. No, I like that a lot. What was I going to say? So we were talking yesterday too. Apparently there are trick-or-treaters on my street. They just all ignored my house. I don't know what it is.
Have your light on, dude.
I guess so. And I don't know, maybe they see my dog in the window or whatever, just looking all menacing, all like 26 pounds of her. But like, I don't know. I did see several families, right? Kind of between 5 and 6:30 in that range. And they were walking by and like didn't even attempt to look at our house. They just kept going by. And I'm like, I'm good with that. I don't have candy to offer.
I mean, I was very surprised yesterday when you told me that nobody came to your house because I'm like, I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they do go to that area. That's a fairly busy area, but hey, saved you some money.
And I mean, like, I would have bought candy, but I think maybe one year we bought candy, but then we just ended up eating all of it because we didn't get any trick-or-treaters, which is fine. Yeah. So anyway, the World Series on top of everything else this week, my least favorite baseball team won the World Series. Shohei Ohtani on one elbow, and months after having his best friend steal millions of dollars, has the best season that anyone's ever had, and wins a World Series immediately on his ex-team's biggest rival. Thoughts, Rodney? Good series, bad series. I mean, like, honestly, here's the thing. People are going to remember that it was Dodgers Yankees, but I don't think there's going to be a ton that people remember from this series specifically, other than maybe Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, the Freddie Freeman, 4 home runs in a row, 4 games in a row, and they may. Unfortunately for Aaron Judge, they may remember him struggling and may remember him. And I get like what happened in that play, but like missing the fly ball, unfortunately, is going to be something that people are going to remember. Oh, Aaron Judge missed the fly ball.
The 5th inning collapsed.
Yeah,
the collapse in the 5th inning is probably the thing. That and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, no, and other than that, now probably not a lot of big moments that people are going to remember. For the Dodgers, everybody talked about the asterisks of 2020, so it was nice for them to sort of erase that. But I mean, I was entertained by the series, maybe because it was Dodgers, Yankees, the storylines, all that. But overall, outside of Game 1, 4 and 5 were pretty good. 2 and 3 were pretty snoozers, really, if you think about it. But some pretty good games there. So World Series is over. But what I want to talk about, Dodgers 4-1 to repeat. Are you taking that bet? 4-1?
Yeah.
And
normally I don't. Normally I don't just immediately go to the team like repeating. But I'm looking at Major League Baseball right now as a whole, and there is not a single other team right now that I'm looking at and saying, "Wow, that team is a legitimate great World Series team."
Right.
The Yankees. I think it made it pretty obvious they just lack sort of basic fundamentals and the things that they need to do. Like they're relying on talent as opposed to like just fundamentals and other things, and it cost them this entire series. I think the Astros are pretty much that window's about to close. Orioles are young; they don't have the experience. The National League, it seems like the Phillies just are very hot and cold. And then who the Padres, like the Braves. Maybe the Braves get back in there, but like honestly, I feel like the Dodgers window's right there. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring this out real quick. There are 18 teams ahead of my St. Louis Cardinals in odds. You've got to be kidding me. And no, and I don't mean this like they're getting ripped here because they've been bad the last 2 years. I'm meaning like you got to be kidding me that you've fallen to the point where you are 60-1 World Series odds. You are tied with the Rays and the Reds to win the World Series. Like the Cardinals' complete collapse has continued. Even the Cubs are quite a bit more of a favorite at 35-1 than the Cardinals. Unbelievable how far they have fallen. And, a lot of storylines around the Cardinals in the offseason, losing. They're likely not going to bring back Kyle Gibson. They're likely not going to bring back Lance Lynn. And like, what the hell are they going to do at pitching?
That's what I'm saying. So like they're going to be probably and like Sonny Gray could get traded.
Yeah.
So there's a chance they lose like over 50% of their starting rotation. They're already not going to have Paul Goldschmidt at first, so I don't know who's the first baseman for next year.
I mean, you could throw Jordan Walker there. You could throw Alec Burles in there.
Okay, so they do have an internal option there, but like so they're losing that. I mean, is Nolan Arenado, is that still something that they're building around, or is he a trade candidate?
I mean, I think he's on the table as well. I think there's discussions that he could be traded as well, which would be a complete overhaul of the team. But I thought that was one of the first things I went to being a Cardinal fan is like, okay, what are their odds? 60-1. Yeah, no chance. But we could get to your Angels.
Yeah. Well, you keep going. I'm going to guess. I have not looked. I'm going to guess that they are 27th. I think that there's probably 3 teams. I think there's probably the Rockies, the White Sox, and the Marlins that are.
Yeah, so you're exactly right, but they're actually tied with the Marlins. So the Angels are 250-1, tied with the Marlins. The Rockies are 400-1, and so are the White Sox. They're both 400-1. So your Angels and Marlins are just below the Athletics and the Nationals.
It's kind of fun. All right, I'm not saying bet it, I'm not saying bet it, but the Nationals, the Nationals should have better odds than that.
Yeah, you would think.
They have a ton of young talent, right? That's
They
only going
do.
to get better. I feel like they have a plan. They're on the upswing. Like they actually had a pretty good first 4 months of this year, and then
Right.
just the dog days of August happened, and then that was that. But I think people expected them to sort of be where the Marlins were, and they weren't. They were a good deal better than the Marlins. I mean, I don't know. Like, all right, I'm gonna throw a crazy conspiracy. I mentioned this a few weeks ago to some people, and they laughed at me. But I want to see what you think. Why do I feel like there's a non-zero chance that the Nationals could go after Juan Soto again for a
Really?
reunion?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sure. Why not? Right. Like they probably got the space. They've obviously got some need for some help in the outfield. Why not?
They didn't end on bad terms there.
No.
Like, it's not like he asked for a trade. He, by all accounts, he liked it. The organization and him got along really well. Like, it was all good. I think that he still has good feelings about there. Sounds like he doesn't want to necessarily like play/live on the West Coast. Like, a lot of people are saying that he wants to stay on the East Coast, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Yankees, Mets, Yankees, Mets." I don't know. I mean, the Nationals would have to pay a crazy amount of money to be able to do it, and they've thrown around money, right? And I believe that they have new ownership coming in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see, and that's interesting for me as well. Like, it was almost immediately after the World Series. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think Juan Soto is really dying for a World Series. Like, he's not one of those guys where I can say, yeah, all he wants to do is get paid and go play. He didn't care if he wins. I think he does truly care about getting and winning a World Series, but it was like almost immediately. Yep, I'm a free agent. Yep, I'm open to everybody, and really all I want to get paid. I don't know. Like, maybe find a way around that the night of losing the World Series, and maybe be like, okay, we'll see what happens. But like, he was pretty open. Yep, I'm available, and I'm available for all of you. I just want to get paid. So,
what's the most realistic destination that you would be the most shocked, like, if he ended up signing up there? So like, so obviously we're not going to say the White Sox or the A's, right?
yeah.
So a team that could realistically give him I don't even know what his projected contract is, at least $500 million, at least, right? Where he would go, and because it's like if he re-signs with the Yankees, you're not surprised. If he goes to the Mets, you're like, okay, yeah, like people are talking about that, and Steve Cohen has endless amounts of money. It's not surprising. So what's the place where you would be like, whoa? Is it the Nationals? Is it another team?
Baltimore.
Yeah, that would do it for me.
Yeah, Baltimore. Staying in the DC area, staying in the American East. I mean, staying because he was there 1 year, staying on the East Coast, going to a contender. You're checking boxes here. Being in a lineup with other dudes that can hit, and I think that's big for Juan Soto. Like, okay, you were really good in Washington, but you ended up with nobody in front and behind you those last couple years. Now you went to New York and you had all sorts of dudes in front of you and behind you, and were really good. You need some help. You definitely need help, and Baltimore would certainly be a place for that. Like, put him in the middle of that lineup. Woo! I mean, so if Baltimore signed Juan Soto tomorrow, they're second in favor in odds, right? They're second to the Dodgers in the odds. I mean, yeah, I mean, they passed the Yankees because obviously you took one of their best players and now he's on your team. Let me pull that up real quick. Baltimore was already fifth at 11-1. So Yankees were 7-1. You probably just basically flip those two. Baltimore moves to 7-1. Yankees moved to 11-1. And there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it would make up for Corbin Burns probably not re-signing there.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore's got to have to spend the money, but I think Baltimore sees, and they're pretty desperate for their window here. Is like, I know their window is a little bit larger, but like professional sports, like your window closes before you think it does, and like Baltimore here 2 years in a row where they've been good, been contenders, and then just kind of faded out. Like, you got to do everything possible to give yourself a chance here before these guys move on and go somewhere else. So Baltimore, I think Baltimore is my answer. And I mean, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I think it's a pretty good answer. I think it's realistic too, but it would surprise me because they've never really been the big spender in free agency.
Right. So one team that came to mind that has been a big spender in years past, sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. It's a team that's kind of right in the middle of, okay, are we going to go all in? Is this our window, or do we need to take a step back? What about Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, I go back to the comment of maybe not wanting to play on the West Coast, but if there's a ton of money offered to him, well, okay, yeah, I'll move to Seattle for.
I mean, what Robinson Cano essentially did, right? Over 10 years ago, going from the Yankees to the Mariners. I don't know, they're looking and saying, okay, we need to do something here to just get over that hump. Maybe it's a team that could realistically say, like, we're a player away, because the pitching's great. The pitching is great. The offense they need to address. They've always been aggressive in the offseason. Like, Julio Rodriguez is still a franchise cornerstone there. If they're able to put Juan Soto next to him in the outfield,
Julio,
that changes a lot of things there.
Julio and Soto in that outfield is pretty good. I was going to mention Boston.
People have mentioned that. Yeah, I mean, Boston is. I can't get a grip of what their direction is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what, if they are resigning themselves to, hey, we're going to rebuild, because they got a young team. They got a lot of young players there. Or is it one of those things where it's like, okay, we're going to reset for a year and then we're going to make all these moves and then try to win immediately? Because they're that no better than third in the division.
Right. Yeah. I would be surprised if he ends up in the National League. Well, I mean, the Mets, I guess. But I don't know as if I see another strong National League contender for Soto, if I'm being honest with you.
Not even the Los Angeles Dodgers?
No, well, that'll never surprise me.
All right, serious question here. If Juan Soto signed with the Dodgers, like, do we just take baseball off? Like, do we just take it off the list of fans? Because I think I'd have to consider it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, like that. That's insane. And that lineup and that roster would just be incredibly.
But legitimately, how could, and I'm going to sound so sour here, and how could baseball allow that?
Yeah, I mean, that's because they don't have any rules on it, right? Like,
right.
But then,
but then they're going to sit here and be like, "Oh, it's so good for the game because there's this team that can buy any single player that it wants, and it has all of the stars and endless amounts of resources, and hooray!"
Yeah. I mean, that one wouldn't. No signing by the Dodgers surprises me, but it would more just kind of stun me of like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Fortunately, though, he'd be out of the National League Central, which would make Cardinals' life at fourth place even easier, I guess. But I mean, obviously the Cubs are going to they're going to talk about flirting with signing guys, but are they actually going to do it? That's the question with the Cubs. Like, is Jed's World actually going to do it? Like, are they actually going to sign guys? Are they going to spend the money? I mean, that would certainly be an interesting location. He comes to Chicago, he's going to be immediately loved there, and the Cubs probably then take favorite over Milwaukee. I don't know. There was a big gap. Yeah. There was a big gap last year of wins between the Brewers and the rest of the division. So I mean, but everybody kind of underlooks Milwaukee. They overlook Milwaukee and underestimate them, and Milwaukee dominated the division. They just sucked in the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, but I'm gonna say Baltimore would kind of surprise me the most.
Yeah, that's like of all the realistic places that you could see him going to. Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's fair. All right, November 1st. There's no better way to kick off November than to do MLB offseason free agency talk. Right. So glad that we were able to do that. Let's look ahead to the NFL now. Obviously, Week 9 did not get off to a good start. And I'm looking at the Week 9 schedule, And I got to be honest, this might be the worst early afternoon slate that I've ever seen.
So are you telling me that you're going to make plans for noon Sunday to do something else?
Oh God, no.
No,
No,
okay.
of course
Yeah.
not. No. But it's like the worst noon games followed by probably the best 3:00 window that we've had so far this year. Because normally the 3:00 window, you get like one
Yeah.
decent game and then the other ones are just garbage. And they kind of just like they hide them there. But I'm saying, man, this 3:00 window is significantly more interesting to me than the noon window. I mean, the noon window, like the best games we have. Okay, so Dolphins Bills was supposed to be good, but I don't think that'll be that good because the Dolphins suck. Cowboys Falcons probably was supposed to be good, but the Cowboys are 3-4. They're not all that fun to watch. Broncos Ravens is probably the best one just based on record, but that's Bo Nix and the Broncos, who are like just so gross in so many ways. So like that's it. That's what we got. I mean, are you interested in any of those? Are you interested in Commanders Giants, Raiders Bengals?
I'm curious about Chargers Browns only because Jameis brings kind of a whole new level of entertainment and interesting thoughts to the games. Now, the Chargers aren't going to let that be what Jameis and the Browns want it to be. They're probably not going to let it be a high-scoring shootout. I mean, okay, Cleveland scores, and then Harbaugh says, okay, we're going to go on an 8-minute, and we're going to run the ball 17 times here, and we're going to take most of the quarter up. So, whereas I would like for that to be a high-scoring, entertaining game, I'm not sure it will be. You said Cowboys Falcons. Interesting there because every time we see Dallas play, like, okay, backs against the wall. They've lost 2 in a row. They're 3-4. Can they go to Atlanta and win? I mean, we like the Falcons in that division. I don't know how much I like the Falcons to cover at 3.5. If I'm talking that way. Commanders Giants. No, I'm going to leave that one to you.
I don't want it.
I mean,
I don't want
our system game, Patriots Titans, not a good football game.
Honestly, just because of the system, that's the game that we're going to be most locked in on. Yeah. It's the 2-6 Patriots at the 1-6 Titans.
Yeah, no, it's a system play, and it's a Patriots game. Like, we're picking the Patriots, and in fact, I'll give it away. I'm taking them in my best bets for betting. That's how set I am on Patriots covering this one at plus 3.5, and we'll discuss a little bit more here in our next segment. But yeah, I mean, that slate is pretty gross. But you mentioned the afternoon slate of the 4 games: the Bears Cardinals, okay, the Rams Seahawks, okay, and then of course the Lions Packers. Like, that's the game of the day.
It's the game of the whole slate. It's better than Colts Vikings on Sunday night. It's better than Bucks Chiefs on Monday night. Yeah.
Colts Vikings got flexed to Sunday night, and I'm not sure why. I guess it was because Kevin O'Connell's group started 5-0, but like, now we got to see the Colts 4-4 get the Vikings. Like, that's kind of gross. We are going to see Joe Flacco, though, which is better probably for entertainment value, I would guess, than Anthony Richardson. I mean, I would rather see Joe Flacco try to throw it 50 yards down the field than I would see Anthony Richardson run for 4 yards. And we talked about this, like, Vikings have their back to the wall, 2 straight losses. So, and then Monday night, Buccaneers Chiefs. Like, I don't think that's going to be close.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs big there. I'm just so I was looking ahead just because I was trying to figure out why they didn't put the Lions Packers game in primetime. And the Lions are Sunday Night Football next week, which probably explains it. So the Texans, and this is also what I pulled up. So the Texans just played Thursday Night Football. Next week they're Sunday Night Football. Then week 11 they are Monday Night Football.
Okay.
So they put the Texans in primetime for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah.
Thursday night, Sunday night, then Monday night. Before then week 12, their regular noon game against the Titans.
And unfortunately, a bad time for them to be on prime time with how banged up they are. Like Detroit at Houston, I'm taking Detroit. Houston at Dallas, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks. I did want to mention next week is another European game. It's your New York Giants against the Carolina Panthers in Germany.
Yeah. That game should stay in Germany. After 60 minutes of of football, they should shake hands and then just return to their hotels in Germany, never to return home to America.
Giants Panthers, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Yeah,
That'll be the only game that the Giants had this year were their favorites.
Yeah, probably. Panthers terrible. Yeah, so real quick, how about college football? Ohio State at Penn State, game of the week, right? I mean, but that's at 11 o'clock. Like, okay, so by 2:30, your good game is done. 2:30, probably our best game is Oregon, Michigan, or Florida, Georgia? Question mark. I mean, both those games, I would guess.
Texas Tech at Iowa State's not bad either.
Yeah. And then in the evening, Monday night, I guess you could go Louisville, Clemson, or you could go USC at Washington, although USC's fraud. Now, a sneaky game is Pittsburgh at SMU. Both those teams are kind of flirting with a top 12 spot. I always look at like, okay, if you're around the 12 area, you're going to get consideration. And Pittsburgh's 7-0 at ranked 18th. SMU's 7-1 ranked 20th. So an interesting 7 o'clock game on Saturday night, Wisconsin, Iowa. We'll see which one scores 21st in that one. But yeah, I mean, college football, we're getting closer to the end of college football already. Like we got a month left here of the regular season. I can't believe like college football Saturdays are going to be over, but I know I'm rambling here. You know what Monday is, right?
Monday Night Football.
Well, that is true, but it's also the start of college basketball. Monday starts college basketball, and you're an alum of Bradley Braves. They play Monday night. My ISU Redbirds play Monday night. My Kansas Jayhawks play Monday night. So all sorts of basketball. Baylor Gonzaga on Monday as well. So I know we don't have a show Monday, but you basketball fans, like get after it. 10:30 at night, Monday night. Baylor Gonzaga, 2 top 10 teams in college basketball. I love college basketball.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will take the reins as the show expert on college basketball. Baylor Gonzaga, that's a good game, folks. That's a good game. But again, I'm very rambly right now. Early season college basketball can be very atrocious. Because you start thinking, okay, Baylor Gonzaga, number 8, number 6, both going to the NCAA tournament. Doesn't matter what happens in this game. You're both going. You're probably both going to get a top 3 or 4 seed. So, like, does this November game matter all that much? It's a non-conference game. Like Baylor's going to go contend in the Big 12. Gonzaga is, of course, going to be in the West Coast Championship. Period. So, like, I don't know. It's not like an NFL game where every game matters. It'll still be fun. Gonzaga's -3.5.
Yeah, college basketball is weird. Where if you are in one of those power conferences, the regular season doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, you get great matchups, and of course, both those teams, they want to win and make a statement to open up their year. Like they're not just gonna like not care. But then if you root for a team like Bradley so Bradley's projected to be the number 1 team in the Missouri Valley this year. It's like the first time in 25 years or so where they've been a preseason number 1 in their conference. But like they still need to win as many freaking games as they can because ultimately, like it's just going to come down to a 4-day stretch in the Missouri Valley like tournament, and that's going to determine what happens to them, whether they have a fighter's chance to make it to the NCAA tournament. So it's like so the regular season. So it's like every single regular season team for a team like Bradley matters so much more than a team like Gonzaga, like just because of that. So that's like the disconnect with college basketball. It's the only sport where you really have that level. Yeah,
because if you lose Monday to Southeast Missouri State, you're going to need to win 31 regular season games to make the tournament. Yeah, right. I mean, on the 12th you play Texas San Antonio. You can't lose that game. You cannot lose that game. Whereas, like, I'll just take my Kansas Jayhawks. If they get upset in that game, if Kansas gets upset by Texas San Antonio in November, like nobody is even discussing, will Kansas make the tournament? Of course, yeah, they're going to make the tournament. Of course, like barring a complete 15-16 meltdown. But we even saw like Jimmy Boeheim, his group went like 18-14 one year. They're like, nope, they're a 7 seed. Like, okay. I get it. Like I'm more of a Power 5, big school type guy, unless Illinois State can compete, which they haven't competed in a decade. But like that's not right. That's not fair, and that's why college basketball has the disconnect it does. But like, yeah, for your Bradley Braves, like you got to beat Southeast Missouri State. You could probably lose at Washington State on the 8th and still like okay, you can still make a pretty good resume here. But then, yeah, Texas, San Antonio, Northern Illinois, Texas State, you got to beat those guys.
I went through the schedule a little bit ago and just looking at previous Missouri Valley teams and like at-large bids, because it seems like forever ago, but there was a time where the Missouri Valley could get multiple teams from its conference into the tournament. And I was like, what is the number of wins that they would need? And it's pretty much like it's if it's not 30, it's very, very close to 30.
Yeah, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. But yeah, we'll talk more college basketball as the show goes on. But I do want listeners to understand it starts on Monday.
I'm very excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. All right, I'm not looking forward to this. I dread this every single Friday. It's best bets for betting. There's a good chance that we need to change the name of this at some point. There is a very good chance of that. But we can discuss that when we get a little bit closer to that point. But are we not at that point yet? I'm sorry.
I'm not. No, I am. Let's go here. I am 19-14-2 on the season. And I just want to say that my Substack is still above water, so you can skip through Tim's part and get to mine if you'd like. I'm still like 5 units up. So Tim is 12-22-1 on the season, and his Substack is you're
not important.
You're above 500, but your units are a little bit down.
I'm not above 500.
Your record? Oh no, 32-38. I thought I said 28. No, yeah. He's not above 500. He's like 7 games under. Anyways, he just disappeared on me. My first game is going to be tonight. I went with it last week. I'm going to do it again. Ashton Giente, who Skeeter doesn't even recognize as a Heisman candidate. Not only like maybe a potential favorite. He doesn't even recognize him as a favorite or as a candidate. He's at home tonight against San Diego State. This is not your mom and pop San Diego State team. They're not as good as they've been over the last several years. This is a good Boise State team. This is a Boise State team that needs to keep rolling and winning their 6 straight. They've won 5 in a row. They have a home game tonight against San Diego State. They have a home game against Nevada. Should beat both of them. They're at San Jose State, at Wyoming State. All 4 of those very winnable. And then they got to host Oregon State. This is a Boise State team that we could see in the college football playoff. I will take them to blow out San Diego State tonight. One more quick nugget here. San Diego State's 3-4. Now they are coming off a close loss to Washington State, but they lost 2 games earlier in the season. 21 points to Oregon State, 21 points to California. Now you're saying, okay, this line is 23.5. Boise State's better than both those teams. Having to go to the blue turf. Not going to go well for them. I'll take Boise State by 24 or more in this game. Give me the Broncos.
Ashton Giente has 159 carries for 1,376 yards on the ground.
It's insane.
18 touchdowns. How so like he is the favorite though, right? For Heisman? Like I'm not asking your opinion. I'm just asking for what the odds are. Like he should be. No, because quarterbacks love to get that. They love to get that to quarterbacks. While you get yours, I'll pull up the latest betting odds. He is not the favorite. He definitely is a candidate. So Skeeter he's not going to listen. So Skeeter's you can just shove it, Skeeter. He is a candidate just because Travis Hunter, let me pull it up. I've got it right here. Oh, I'm Travis Hunter. I play both sides of the football. I'm so good.
Giante's 4th. Travis Hunter plus 220. Dylan Gabriel plus 280. Cam Ward plus 300. Ashton Giente plus 400. That's it. Then it falls down to Cade Klubnik at 2,500. So 4 guys for the Heisman. This would be a great opportunity for Ashton. Friday night at home, big game here, and he's gonna put himself right in that mix, which he already's in. So that's my first pick.
Are we gonna get it feel like he does it about 50% of the time? His first carry, take it to the house, 75 yards.
I mean, if there's a bet on it, I'd probably take it.
All right. My first best bet for betting is all right. There's Rodney. You're very, very aware of this. Ohio State and Penn State have 2 coaches who don't exactly flourish in these big games. Ryan Day hasn't beaten a top 5 opponent since September 3rd of 2022. He's lost 4 straight. James Franklin, meanwhile, hasn't beaten a top 5 opponent since October 22nd, 2016. 10 straight. One of these coaches will finally get that win against a top 5 opponent and snap their streak. But I'm going with Ohio State. It's a tough game at State College, but I'm just going with Ohio State here. 3 points.
Maybe more of the seasoned program. Maybe. I mean, Ohio State been a little bit better than Penn State over the years. So yeah, okay, I can get with that one. My second one's going to be the Georgia Bulldogs. Now this is a neutral site game, so it's not at or whatever. They do play this in Jacksonville. Now next year they are moving it. I think they said to either Atlanta or Miami. Because they're getting some renovations done there in Jacksonville. So they're moving this. I don't understand. They're moving it for 2 years. I don't understand why for 2 years you can't just play a home and away. Like, okay, so 1 year Athens gets to host this. They host the Florida Gators. Like, okay, you're going to get 70,000 people in your stadium, whatever it holds. And then the next year we go to Gainesville and Florida is going to sell. Because like, Georgia's going to sell out Florida, and Florida's going to sell out Georgia. Like, why are we doing the neutral site game when it's not at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville? Why are we even looking at changing neutral sites? Anyways, that's for a different story. Florida's 4-3. They are coming off a big win over Kentucky, but I don't think they're any good. I think Florida is in turmoil, not real good, and I do think Georgia is a team we do not want to mess with. Georgia made a statement against Texas. I think they're going to make another statement. They have their one loss. The Bulldogs saying we're not losing again. They do have Ole Miss and Tennessee coming up, so a good stretch here for the Bulldogs. UMass and Georgia Tech to end the season. They're going to roll those guys. So big game here for Georgia. I'll take them by 15 or more. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs win this one in Jacksonville.
I like that one a lot, Rodney. That probably means it's going to lose. Sorry. All right. Number 2, best bet for betting. Washington's playing USC. You alluded to it earlier. USC's frauds, and you're right. They are frauds. And this is something that I find very curious here. So the game's at Washington, right? Yet USC is the favorite. USC on the road this year is 0-3. They have not won a single road game. They're scoring 23 points per contest on the road, not to mention that they've been a favorite in all 3 of those road games as well. So now they got to go to Seattle, to Husky Stadium, win here. I mean, Washington hasn't been great this year. They've lost 2 in a row, but they were tough losses. They went on the road at Iowa, at Indiana. They've been a much better team at home. They beat Michigan at home. USC's defense has really taken a step back. A lot of people think it's going to be a super high-scoring contest. I could see it kind of coming right at where that 55-point total is, but I think Washington's in a great spot here. So I'm going with the Huskies as an underdog at home.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move to the NFL. My third bet's going to be the system play, the New England Patriots. We've described the system before. We've talked about it. I'm sticking with it through the season. I know this could be a loss, and if it is, it is. Basically, what happens is you take the team following the week they play the Lions. So the Titans got beat up by the Lions last week. They're still reeling. They're beat up by a physical Detroit team. Now they host a pretty bad Patriots team. But I will take the Patriots to cover that spread. Obviously, New England is still showing some friskiness after coming up with a win last week. Haven't looked too close at the injury report. Not terribly concerned about it. I still think the Patriots can cover the spread. Tennessee's just no good. Both teams are banged up, so you want to look at injury reports, fine. Drake May was limited yesterday in practice. I still think Jacoby Brissett can cover the spread. It's Tennessee. Like, I assume it's Mason Rudolph for Tennessee and not Will Levis. So, like, neither one of those guys really strike fear in me. I think it could be a competitive game. I'll take the Patriots in the system plus 3.5.
I could see like Tony Pollard having a big day and just trying to carry Tennessee in that one.
Yeah, he certainly could. He certainly could. And maybe he's the best player on the field, ? I don't know. Like that's sometimes bets come down to that, but it is going to be Mason Rudolph. He was sharp to start that game at Detroit, like on pace for like 9,000 yards, but then died down a little bit. Did finish with 266, but Detroit's okay giving up passing yards. Go ahead, pass on us. We're just going to outscore you, and then we'll stop you when we need to. I like the Patriots.
All right, my number 3, best bet for betting. I'm going back to the Bills. I was on them last week against Seattle. Cruised against Seattle, not even close. They're back at home facing the Miami Dolphins. Rodney, the last time that the Dolphins won a game in Buffalo, do you want to take a guess?
Dolphins won a game in Buffalo was probably like 2006.
Not that much. 2016 in overtime was their last one. They have their last win against Buffalo in general was that one a couple years ago in Miami where like the Bills out yarded them by about 300 yards and had everything, but it was just one of those fluke games. I mean, Buffalo's a much better team. The Dolphins, even with Tua back, they seem broken. They choked against Arizona at home. Now they got to go up north to Buffalo, a place that they never win. I was surprised that the spread was only 6 points here. I think that there's still a level of disrespect to the Bills, who are undefeated, by the way, at home. I think the Bills win, obviously, in case that isn't apparent. But I also think that they cover this game. I like 6 points. I probably would have even played it up to 7. So, yeah, I'll go with the Bills here.
Yeah, and so there was some excitement about Tua coming back last week, and Tua wasn't bad, but he just threw for 1 touchdown, 234 yards. They're still kind of feeling out process there. Yeah, I mean, but Buffalo of all teams knows how to defend Tua, and this is actually where Tua, was out last time. He got hurt in this game last time, so there's got to be some ghost for Tua coming into this game. Seeing ghost as that's a tough Buffalo defense. Now it's not as good as it's been in the past, but they still got some dudes that can put some lickings on you. Okay, I'll take Buffalo. My last one's going to be the Detroit Lions. I mean, so that's something we get into here. Like you find your team that you really like or you continue betting on, you have success with. The Detroit Lions to me is that one. Now, I've been pretty against the Packers most of the season, and they've proved me wrong more than not, although, last week was by the hair of their chinny chin there in Jacksonville as they kick a field goal at the buzzer late in that game to win 30-27. NFC North showdown here. This is in Green Bay, but I don't think we're quite ready for the weather to be that big of a factor. Now, I am a little concerned about Jared Goff on grass as opposed to turf. He loves the turf, and he's better on the turf. But Detroit's just better. Detroit's better than the Packers. And both teams actually have quarterback concerns coming into this game. Jared Goff had an injury. He was back at practice. He's going to be good to go. What's the status of Jordan Love? I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, look what Jordan Love's latest status is. He's got a growing issue. He limited.
I think. Well, he's been limited. The last I heard with him is that he said that he was feeling good, that he was on track to play. So he's feeling good. Now that doesn't necessarily mean he is going to play, but I mean he's trending in that direction. It seems.
Yeah. Regardless, here, obviously, if one factor, so Jared Goff's going to play. Obviously, if he didn't play, obviously, I'd have a big concern here. I wouldn't take 2.5. But regardless, if it's Jordan Love or Malik Willis at 2.5, I like the Lions here. Obviously, if Jordan Love's declared out, this line's moving a little bit. Malik Willis probably isn't beating the Lions. So I'll take Detroit minus 2.5, and I cannot wait for a 4-0 weekend.
It's a shame that the Packers have a bye week next week, so that we can't do the system play after this one.
Yeah, no, it sucks. That's not.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's free money.
All right, number 4, my final one. All right, this is my reasoning for the Rams here at Seattle. Okay, the Rams have not won on the road this year. They're 0-3. Yet they're inexplicably a 1-point favorite. It might have actually moved down. It was 1.5 before we did the show. Now I think it's down to 1.
Crazy.
And right. So we're saying how could they be favorite? That's bizarre. That's insane. And like Puka, I think, is banged up again, and there's an injury, but it doesn't seem like it's too serious. It's the same thing that happened on Thursday night, where it's like, what are we missing? And it's like, of course, like why wouldn't we take Seattle as an underdog? They're better. And then we look stupid. So I'm not going to fall for that again. I'm just going to take the Rams at Seattle. They have a coaching advantage. They have a quarterback advantage. They have cut back. Hopefully Puka's good to go. DK Metcalf's still out for Seattle. Just give me the Rams here. Whether it's a point and a half, I have it at a 1.5. We'll see where it closes at by the time I probably bet it on Sunday. But yeah, I'll go with the Ramskis here. And that's my rationale. It's the opposite of what I did yesterday.
So is the NFC West this year going to be like the NFC South of the last few years, where like we're going to see 9-8 win the division, and maybe 3 teams or 2 teams at like 8-9. Like Arizona, San Francisco, and Seattle all 4-4, and like Seattle obviously could lose this one, and then the Rams would be ahead of them. Arizona is just a 1-point favorite against the Bears. So like we're looking at like 9-8 to win this division. Like you had to pick right now who wins the NFC West. Are you picking San Francisco still?
I think so, but because I'm a coward, I don't have strong convictions with it. Like I don't think Seattle. The Rams fascinate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because they still have enough there to where I believe in it. But no, I'd still take the Niners. Although they're definitely not going to be the 13-win, 1 seed that they've been the last couple of years. It'll be 10 wins at best, probably.
Yeah. So real quick on San Francisco, obviously they're at they're a bye week this week. They're at Tampa Bay, which originally you would have thought, it could be interesting, but to me, without Baker, without Godwin and Evans, like they're not. San Francisco's winning at Tampa Bay. But then it's home against Seattle. It's at the Packers. It's at the Bills. Like San Francisco's got some games here where it's like, okay, in 4 weeks from now, they could be sitting at 6-6. And now it's like, okay, you better win these last 4 or you're not, you have no chance of repeating. So interesting. I was going to look at the Rams schedule real quick. They got Seattle now, Dolphins at home, at the Patriots, with the Eagles at the Saints. So, there's some wins there. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be a very interesting NFC West, and probably honestly, like that and the NFC North, I guess, are probably 2 of the divisions that we're really curious about how they're going to play out.
Yeah. The NFC North doesn't have a clear front runner. I mean, we both think Detroit is going to win that division. They're the best team, but it's close enough to where there's a debate about it. And then, the NFC West, I mean, who knows? I mean, the Rams are in last right now. They're a half game out.
Right. So it'll be interesting, but can't wait for football.
And then can't wait for college basketball. Oh, Rodney, next week, you're going to have some college basketball bets in this and on Substack too, I'm sure.
100%. Yeah, no, I mean, because that's the greatest part. Like it'll start daily again. Like you'll have daily college basketball games going on. So, I'll include those in Substack. And my Substacks, I try to sprinkle one from all the different sports. I know you're a little bit more player prop individual. That's great. I mean, whatever it takes to win money, or lose money in your case. But yeah, I mean, I'll make sure I include a college basketball 1 or 2.
And that does it for best bets for betting. Yay. All right.
That does it for our show, except for if you got a Barry Bonds stat of the day, baby.
I do. Yeah. So I on Tuesday, I shared a Barry Bonds stat about like the one pitcher that was able to keep Barry Bonds at bay. His name is Jeremy Gonzalez. He had a career ERA just under 5, and he was killed by lightning 2 years after his playing career ended. That honestly would have been a fitting one today, just based on the vibe of me and the show. Now we'll go on the opposite end, though. So a pitcher that Barry Bonds had nothing but success against. So against Jeremy, he was 0 for 6 lifetime, right? So Barry Bonds faced. Do you remember a reliever? He played for the Dodgers for a few years and maybe a couple other teams named Guillermo Mota.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
So Barry Bonds faced Guillermo Mota just 9 times. In those 9 plate appearances, he went 1 for 1 with a home run and then walked the 8 remaining plate appearances. That's a perfect 5,000 OPS career against Guillermo Mota.
Pretty much owned him.
And apparently, and I didn't know this too, he had the exact same stat line against another reliever, Chad Bradford, the Submariner. I know that he played for a bunch of different teams, but it was the exact same stat line. Chad Bradford, 1 for 1 with a home run, 5 walks. And both of them, both Mota and Bradford, 3 of those walks were intentional walks.
Yeah.
So Barry has a perfect 5,000 OPS against 2 different pitchers in his career.
And those pitchers just said, nope, we're not facing him. No.
Yeah, they gave up a hope. It was probably, and this is not confirmed. They probably tried to pitch to him the first time.
Yeah.
He hit the ball about 900 feet. and they're like, we're never going to do that again.
Nope.
And then for the remaining 8 times that they had to face Barry, they were just like, you know what? Just take your base. I don't want a part of it. The humiliation is too much for me.
Take your base. I don't care if the base is littered or not. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. That's good.
There you go. All right. Well, that's Barry Bondstat. That's a good way to end the show. This terrible, miserable show. It's episode 20. I shouldn't be upset. It's episode 20 of the Stupidest Sports Show. It's been a fun ride. It'll continue going. It'll only heat up as we have college basketball entering the mix, NBA, NHL, college football, NFL, lots of things. You can get all of our thoughts. Well, first of all, you can follow the show at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. I know Rodney does a lot of the management there, but you could also follow us individually. I'm at Big Time Tim Jim. He's at Newport Rodney. You can also find us at Substack. The contest officially ended yesterday, correct?
Yeah, but obviously we would like for you to continue signing up for the Substack. It sends out in the afternoon each day. Of course, weekends we'll do it earlier in the day. It gives a few picks. You can fade or follow as you wish. Everything's free right now. There are opportunities later on that could be a small subscription, but we're not ready for that yet. But yeah, follow us on Substack. Just sign up for that. I will announce a winner here soon. I'll grab all that information and get that out. But yes, our contest is officially over as of midnight last night.
And if you missed any of the show, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, iHeart, YouTube. There's YouTube podcasts. Who knew?
Yeah.
We're on there. So that does it for the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. We will be back next week. So originally we do the shows Tuesday night. Tuesday night is the night of the election. There are probably several reasons why we probably shouldn't do a show live during the election. Or maybe it's the perfect reason. I don't know yet, but tentatively that's when we'll be back on. And if anything changes, we'll let you know. But again, you can subscribe to our daily Substack. If you have a hankering for Rodney's winners and my losers, you can follow us there. And you can get daily content sent to you every day from 2 of the stupidest guys on earth. How about that?
So Tuesday's show will not only be sports, but politics?
So I'm saying, I don't know.
I should probably stay in my own lane on that one.
Sure. We should stick to sports.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just what everyone wants.
Just dribble the ball.
Shut up and dribble, Rodney. All right. Anyway. He's super sad, Rodney Newpol. I'm Tom Terrific, Tim Van Stratton. We'll talk to you next week for episode 21 of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. Have a good weekend. Try to not lose, and man, I'll try to feel better next week. But
that's good.
Who knows?
All right, we'll see you Tuesday.
Ask me in a few days.
Sounds good. Let's see you Tuesday.
All right. Goodbye.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.